beautiful, good-looking people.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. All right, so this very special webinar we have today with Barry Shore is going to be an extraordinary event for everyone, I assure you. And if you haven't met Barry before, some things you really need to know about him are, I could say a million things, but really he's a very successful serial entrepreneur. He's built several very successful businesses since he was 14 years old. Is that right, Barry? Did I get that right? So he's been an entrepreneur since 14, and he's built one of the biggest companies was Gemma Corp or Gamma Corp. I hope I pronounced it right. Sold over 100 million, 100 million, okay, dollars of precious, of diamonds, okay. And not just that, he also created the company eFax and sold it for $10 million in 18 months, right? So very short amounts of time, he's been able to generate lots and lots of success for startup companies. And he does this time and time again, but there was an incident that happened in 2004 where there was a rare illness that caused Barry to become quadriplegic, which is being paralyzed from the neck down. And miraculously, through prayer and love therapy, he's been able to heal himself to the point where he can actually move around and with just very minimal support. There's a lot of great things about that story. We might get into that. But really, I want to make sure that you are here. You're going to learn on this webinar, you're going to learn from Barry how he was able to build these successful businesses and really overcome all the challenges that he's faced in order to, be successful and be happy. So the goal of this is by the end of the webinar, you will have specific principles and specific tactics, things you can do for yourself so that you can build your own successful businesses and be successful in life and everything you do. Okay. And actually I asked Barry, what would you promise? What would this actually give someone? And he said, if you follow these principles in the next 5 years, there is no reason why you can't make $1 million in your business. And I mean, he said it in a lot more very direct way, but I mean, we can't promise any income, right, for anyone. But really, I mean, there is no reason why you can't have that amount of money or success, at least $1 million in 5 years, using these principles that he's going to share with you. Okay. So with that said, I hope I gave Barry a good introduction here. And Barry, go ahead and just share with us. Let us know what do you like. So I'm going to start with the biggest question. Okay. So this is what I want you to share, right? If someone is, coming to you as an aspiring entrepreneur and, they want to build a really huge business, what is the biggest piece of advice you would give them?
First of all, thank you for that great introduction, Omar. Everybody on the line should know that Omar did a fabulous job of reading what my mother had written for him, all about the praise of Barry Shore, her son. So a big round of applause for Omar. Thank you. Very good.
Hey.
Here's a direct answer to your question, Omar. This is for everybody on the line, all 2,532 people, but especially for Dagmar, David, and Bobby. You ready? Service. Let me repeat that word again. Service. S-E-R-V-I-C-E. Service is the best, the surest, the most direct route for success in business. It doesn't matter if you have a cleaning business, if you have a trading business, if you have a direct selling business, if you're going after money, you may or may not, usually not, achieve the number you want. If you provide dedicated, consistent, loving service, you cannot fail. Let me repeat that. If you provide consistent, dedicated, loving service, you cannot fail. Now, that's a big statement. And there's no reason you should believe me other than the facts of the following. I try on a regular, daily basis to practice what I'm preaching. And it has brought me, personally, great financial success, great success with family, great success with friends, and, in my humble opinion, with my maker. As Omar has mentioned, on September 17th, 2004, I was standing up in the morning, just like everybody on this call, and in the evening, I was in the hospital, paralyzed from my neck down. In a matter of hours, I became a quadriplegic, unable to do anything on my body except move my head a little bit left to right. I would say that's a big change in life. Dagmar? But here's the genius of life. Look at my arms. Do you see me moving them? Isn't that wonderful? Now, I cannot stand up from this chair. I'm still what they call technically a paraplegic. From my waist down, very little in my body moves. But thank God, through prayer, therapy, and love, I literally can move about and become vertical and ambulatory. And as Dagmar just pointed out to me, she did some research about me and saw that through dedication of great, wonderful therapists who put me in the pool in water, because in water, if you fall down, guess what? It doesn't hurt. If you fall down on the ground, it hurts. And you can break things, which I have. So I was blessed with great, loving people and therapists to literally learn how to swim. And over the past number of years, with the aid of flotation devices on my legs and paddles on my hands, because my fingers don't work like yours do, and a snorkel, so I don't have to move my head to breathe every few seconds, I have been able to learn how to swim 2 miles a day, 6 days. And I've done that for almost 9 years. Thank you, Dagmar. 2 thumbs up. And to put everything in perspective, since we are all data wonks, because if you're not taking notes on yourself every day, keeping a journal, I don't care if it's an entry of 2 or 3 thoughts, or it's literally writing down every appointment you have and a little note next to each one, and being able to review it every week, and then review it every month, and then review it every quarter. Hello, that's one of the hints of being successful. I have logged in every half mile and every mile that I have swum. And as to this particular date in history, where we are right now, which is December 14th, 2017. I can tell you that I have logged enough miles, we'll go for Dagmar, to swim across the Atlantic from New York, across the Atlantic, through the Straits of Gibraltar, across the Mediterranean, and if we kept going, up to and through Israel into probably Jordan and almost into Iraq. Yes, over 6,411 miles to date, and still going. So let's go back to your question, your fundamental question, Omar. Service is the key. Service, dedicated, loving, continual service. Everything follows from that. The next component after service is defining success. You could be giving service, you could be doing well, you're dedicated, but you become a doormat. And you don't want to do that. And there's a fine line between being a doormat and being a service giver. In my life, in my businesses, we've had to fire clients. But it's rare because most people will return time and again for good service. And the prime example, and I use that as a pun, the prime example of service being a guide to success is a small company beginning with a letter A. And everybody knows it because it's a worldwide phenomenon, and it has made the founder the richest person in the world. Amazon. Amazon. Amazon was not built on maximizing profit margin. As a matter of fact, if you've ever studied it, and I have at length, Amazon loses money on many sales. It makes its money actually in being a provider of cloud services, but that was later in its history. Amazon was built on one sustaining principle: service, making sure you, the customer, the client, their friend, has the best possible service. So now the next piece that underlies this service is the interaction between you and the people that you do business with. But the fundamental bedrock, the foundation stone for everything, is defining success for you. And I dare say, they're wonderful, good-looking people. And by the way, I can say that, my eyes wide open, and say you are good-looking people, everybody on this call. How can I say that definitively? Because everybody here is looking for the good. That's the definition of a good-looking person. Always looking for the good. And the most important person in your life that you need to look for the good for is yourself. Now, we're in a great day. This is December 14th in the year 2017. So on the solar calendar, we're coming up to the end of the calendar year, which of course brings the new year. And it's a time for introspection, for resolution, for future thinking, and thinking about yourself. So I'm going to hold up something in about 6 seconds that is going to literally change your life if you use it. Okay, I have 3 more seconds to hold it up. 2 and 1. Can everybody see what this is? If you were not muted, you would all say, "Yes, Barry, sure, I see what that is. It's a blank piece of paper." And you all got it right. Now here is the key with that blank piece of paper. And I dare say, if there were 1 million people on this call at the very moment, 999,900 would not follow what I'm going to give you as a piece of advice, as a piece of love, as a piece of myself, and knowing full well that it works totally. And that is the 100 people out of 1 million, 1/10 of 1%, will do the following. We'll take that blank piece of paper and we'll do 3 things. Number 1, we'll write this down. My definition of success is. Number two, the three most important qualities that I have that will propel my success are: number three, the three most important aspects of my personality that hold me back from success are: every person, and I underline every, that includes myself, by the way, and I'm the toughest person that I know to work with. Boy, is he tough. Woo! Get him to follow instructions, that's really hard. But I can sit him down sometimes and have him do it. Every person that I have worked with in the past 38 years, maybe even 48 years, yes, 48 years, I would say, that has followed these instructions has never failed. Bobby, I believe you asked, you want to repeat number two? Number two is write down the three most important aspects of my personality that help me in success are. You got it, Bobby? Okay. You're welcome. My dear beloved friends, and I will call you that because if you have invested your most valuable asset, which is your time, to share with me and be together with me, and I will love and respect you for doing that, if you follow these three principles of writing down and learning as much as you can about yourself over the next, let me see, today's the 14th. Very good. The next 2+ weeks. And write down for yourself in the upper right-hand corner the number 3. Just write the number 3. That represents the number of hours that you will dedicate to yourself over the next 17 days. That's 180 minutes. Doesn't have to all be done in one sitting. You have 21 days, no, sorry, 17 days to dedicate 180 minutes to the most important person in your life, you. And as Tony Robbins says, if you cannot find 10 minutes a day to focus on you, you do not have a life. Yay, Tony! Now you see, by the way, I said Tony Robbins, and nobody said, who's that? One of the most powerful, professional, and loving people and is now practicing on the planet. And he's doing it at this point in time for one reason only: to be able to help people. As Omar mentioned, and I did as well, on September 17, 2004, I became a quadriplegic. Back of the baseball card statistics, Dagmar, I don't know if you know what a baseball card is, but in America we have baseball players or soccer players, and they sell cards that kids buy and trade. Thank you, Bobby. And on the back of the card are all the statistics and information about the player. So back of the baseball card, statistics about Barry Shore, quadriplegic on September 17th, 11 days in something called ICU, the intensive care unit, 4.5 months in different rehab hospitals, 2 years in a hospital bed in my own home that I could not turn over by myself, 4 years in various wheelchairs, 1.5 years in braces that went from on both legs, from my hips down to my ankles. And that was an improvement. Walking for 6 years with a walker. Oh, I think I'm going to try and bring it over here. And now, through the help of a 6.5-foot walking wand made for me by a Zen master, I am able to be vertical and ambulatory, albeit not able to walk up a curb by myself or a step alone. And I have helped 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't drive, and you don't want me driving on the roads. Even if you come to America, Dagmar, you don't want Barry Shore on the roads. So I have a driver, thank God. But the point is that we've been through stuff. When you've been through stuff, you get to the point, both for me chronologically, which I'll talk about age in just a few moments, and the fact that I, thank God, do not need the money. I've done what I'm doing now for one reason only, because I am going mad. I'm going to make a difference. That's what going mad is. I'm only here to make a difference. What I'm about to share with you in terms of one of my businesses and why Omar is so interested is because this business is transforming philanthropy. Just like Uber transformed transportation, Airbnb transformed hospitality. So our company called Delighted, that's D as in Dagmar, L as in loving, Y as in yesterday, T as in tomorrow, E as in enthusiastic, and D as in dynamic, DLYTED.com. Thank you, Omar. Is or has a mission. The mission is to be able to make everyday giving effortless. And the goal, the big, hairy, audacious goal, is to facilitate the giving of $1 billion over the next 5 years without costing anybody a penny. May I repeat that, Dagmar? Delighted is going to allows people to give money, God willing, by aggregating millions of people, $1 billion, and it won't cost anybody a penny. Joy! And it's built on the principles we just talked about. Defining success for you, knowing what allows you to be successful, who you are, that brings out the best in you, that allows you to give service and be you. What are those 3 things? And by the way, don't get more than 3. That holds you back. Because obviously we're going to work on that a little bit later. And then understanding that it's about service.
Hey, Barry, can I ask you a question?
Let me see. Yes, you can. It's 10:28.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And by the way, thank you so much for sharing all that. It was really, really powerful stuff. And for those of you watching this, I hope you're taking this to heart and taking these notes. So Barry, my question for you is, I'm sure a lot of people might be wondering this as well. Like, how would you go about defining your 3 most important qualities that propel your success and the ones that hold you back? How do you even find that out?
Good question. Everybody hear the question? Okay. I'm going to answer it in a roundabout way, but then I'm going to get right on the target. I want to begin with something called age. So everybody has 4 ages. I don't know if am I holding up 4 fingers? Okay, good. Yeah, a little bit curly, but they're good. Everybody has 4 ages. You have your chronological age, your metabolic age, you have your mental age, and you have your SOW. Chronological age is fairly easy, right? In my particular case, it's 69 years old. 69 years, not old. My metabolic age, because of swimming, is 48. Pretty strong. My mental age, my mental acuity is 28. So I have to work with, and I get to work with people like Omar and people like Milana and people who are 18 and 16 and 14. Keeps me on my toes. And my SOW, which you're all wondering, said, what's an SOW? And it's not a pig. My SOW is 8. SOW stands for sense of wonder. What is your sense of wonder? So this brings me to directly to the target of your question. How do you go about beginning to define success for you? There are 2 fundamental pieces and possibly a third. The 2 fundamental pieces are, and this is not a Sunday, so I can't be too spiritual, but the one part, of course, is what we call the secular piece of you, and the other, for want of a better term, is the spiritual piece. And the secular piece of you has to do with money. Money is fabulous. Money is a tool. Money is not the root of all evil, because that's a misquote. And you're all educated enough to know that the misquote is what rules in people's minds who do not like or understand money. But the real quote is, the lust, L-U-S-T, the lust for money is the root of all evil. Money is just a tool. It doesn't know anything. It doesn't care. It only wants to be in a place of service. And it doesn't stay anywhere. It flows. It's a giant, mighty, powerful river. Now, in everybody's case, it may start out as a tiny trickle. Hopefully, it gets to be a stream. Maybe even gets to be joining with other streams into a river, until finally it becomes so mighty and powerful that it can carry ships and ply trade all over the world. There are no barriers. You are limitless. So one part of the success definition is, what is your goal, your target for this thing called money? Not so much an accumulation of it as a total, saying, well, I want $1 million in 5 years. More about, where do you want to be with money? As an example, if you now earn, notice I say earn, pick a number, $5,000 a month currently, and you want to earn $10,000 a month. Well, there are 2 pieces to that. One is knowing how much more service can I give, because you're only being paid at the moment for the value of the service you deliver. If you're making $5,000 a month and you think, I'm giving as much service as I possibly can, well, then you won't get beyond 5,000. If you recognize that there's more of you to give, and it may be that you're blocked by something, which is step number 3, then you open up the gates and the trickle becomes a stream. And it will elevate to 10,000 or whatever the target is you have. Because you see, the genius of this is, you can't hit a target unless you see one, unless there is one. And you literally cannot go from $5,000 a month to $100,000 a month in 60 days. Not because the world won't give it to you. The world is completely and readily prepared to give you that much. You can't. Your mind is in 5,000. Your heart is in 5,000. Your lust is in 100. You may have to get rid of the lust. Move it out. Open up the heart. Be expansive. Think only about joy, happiness, peace, and love. So setting an amount for that which you want in the world of money is critical, whatever the amount is, but understand what's going to take to get there. That's the secular part of your success story. The other part, the spiritual part, and again, these are not two halves that put together. They are intertwined. The one doesn't exist and live without the other. Is the spiritual component. Who are you? Are you a giver or a taker? Now, as I said, I've been on the earth for 69 years. I have been thinking and working about what I'm speaking to you about since the age of 14. Maybe even before that, but at 14, I already had some recognition of my place in the world and the ability to focus. I probably didn't have a real cogent thought in my mind until I was 21, because I was full of hormones until then. But be that as it may, I was in process consciously. The spiritual part of your being is vital, meaning give life to that which animates everything in your exterior life. So if money and the things that money will acquire and allow you to give will help, then you need to know who you are in the spiritual world. And the beauty of living in today, 2017, is that when I say we are in a digital era, well, everybody knows what that means, sort of. It means we're not in an analog era. And I'll illustrate it with something that probably nobody but me has ever seen. Imagine, if you will, imagine a flat screen TV, large flat screen TV, and now extend the back of that TV, I'd say about 12 to 15 inches. So it's a box. And you can open the box because it has screws on the back, and you take off the back panel and you look inside and you will see, it's hard to even describe these. I call them tubes, but because that's what they were, but they're all bunches of tubes and wires. Well, that's an analog system, because if one tube goes out, it doesn't shut down the entire system. You may have a blurry picture or wavy or something like that, and you fix a tube, put it in. But we don't live in an analog world anymore. We live in a digital world. And in a digital world, it either works or it doesn't. You're either a giver or a taker. When you look at who you are and you fathom the depths of your being and you recognize that you want to be a giver, or you wouldn't be on this call right now. I want to be a giver. Am I really a giver? If the answer is yes, then everything that happens in the process of evolving and being a giver will mean that all the things you want, more money, and the ability to give more money, and to give of service, and to build in joy, happiness, peace, and love, will, by definition, occur. You cannot fail. I'm going to repeat these words again 3 times. You cannot fail. You cannot fail. You cannot fail. The only caveat is you must fill in the page. If it remains a blank page, there's nothing I can do to help you. Let's go quickly to 2 other principles, if I may, Omar. Is that okay?
Yes, of course. And Barry, just a heads up. I also want to for you to share that must read, the thing that you wanted everyone to read.
Yes.
So make sure, I just want to remind you that.
We're going to do 2 things. Okay. Thank you very much, Omar. We're going to cover 3 things right now. Things that must be read. Number 2 is what I call the 4 Ps, and then the 3 Ds. D as in Dagmar. So there are two books that, in my humble opinion, you must read daily. Now, when I say read daily, it does not mean that you have to read it for 60 minutes. Some days I read one of these books for 2 minutes, just because of realities of life. I try, and most often I succeed, in reading for 10 minutes each book. Again, if you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life. The first book is, and it's not because the second one is not as important as the first one, just mentioning one of them first, is probably the most definitive work written on the science of success. May I say that again? The science of success. And it is so basic and so easy that in today's environment, with so much happening all the time, every minute coming into you from our smartphones, which are less smart all the time, you are smart. It is just a mechanism. You are smart. It is just a mechanism. This book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, why do I say it? Because it is definitive. And because the people who want to lust for money read that title, Think and Grow Rich, yeah, this is how I make money. Okay, let me get to that thing. And yet, when you really read the book 1 time, 3 times, 5 times, 10, 20, 30 times, and more, you recognize that riches do not mean money. Money is a component. That's all. Riches have to do with your life, your secular life, your spiritual life, that part of you that deals with these things called money, service, business, friendships. And friendship is the bridge between the secular life and the spiritual life. Because friendships are the key and essence. And I will tell you one of the greatest secrets that you'll ever hear. Your greatest friend is you. The second book that I read every day, and you don't have to read this one. Matter of fact, I'll give you several that you could. But the book that I read every day is the book of Psalms. The book of Psalms. It's been around for almost 3,000 years. It's a bit of time. Read it in any language you want. There's a lot in there. It's a mine, a deep, powerful, yielding mine that gives riches almost beyond understanding. And if you don't want to read the Psalms, an alternative is read Proverbs. And again, we're talking a few minutes every day. You could read one proverb, and that could keep you going for days, just thinking about it and living it. The purpose, by the way, of these 2 books, the first one is fundamental. Think and Grow Rich, you must have. Your choice in the second. I say Psalms, Proverbs, but something like that. That gives you these pieces, these nuggets that you can literally look at, hold in your hand, keep in your mind, keep in your heart. If you even need to or want to, it happens to be that I have what I call a minute of love recording that goes out every day. And it's about a minute. Sometimes it runs 2. It's the Minute of Love recording. I send it out on WhatsApp and on Messenger. I think it's available on SoundCloud. But it's these nuggets that you can just, you hear it and you feel it and you want to just think on it and live with it. It's the best vitamins in the world. Okay, those are the 2 books. Now let's talk about the 4 Ps and the 3 Ds. And by the way, it's so interesting that for you, you're meeting me for the first time and we're together. And I really, as I say, I am fully cognizant and appreciative of the fact that you are investing your most valuable asset, your time. And I honor that. So when I share with you these 4 Ps and 3 Ds, please understand these are not just glib little things that I'm rattling off because they sound good and they're, gee, whiz bang, okay, now what? How does that really make me any money? Well, again, that's what your inner conscious is shouting. But if you've been listening to what we've been saying, we're dealing with wealth, with riches, with life. Money comes as a result of service. It will come to you in abundance that it's almost impossible for you to fully believe at this moment. But it will happen, inevitably. Because as I said before, you cannot fail. 4 Ps. Prayer, perseverance, persistence, patience. Prayer, perseverance, persistence, patience. They don't go in order. They are interchangeable. They live together in harmony in you. And as I said, as an example, I swim. Therefore, I am. Swimming doesn't define me, and yet swimming for me has become one of the most enlivening things that I've ever been involved with in my life. Because exercise, you see, is something that builds you, doesn't drain you. And since we're talking about being in a digital world, I mentioned before, you're either a giver or a taker. Another part of that is you're either a fountain or a drain. And that doesn't just go for you. That goes for the people in your lives. You all know people that are fountains. You all know people that are drains. Try to avoid the latter and eliminate them when possible. Live the bountiful life. How do you do that? With prayer. So Omar mentioned to you, when he read the introduction that was prepared by my sainted mother, that I literally was healed, not that I healed myself, I was healed through prayer, therapy, and love. It wasn't just my prayers. Thank God, because of friends and family throughout the world. And even to this very day, there are people who pray with me in mind to help heal me. Again, I was a quadriplegic. There was nothing on my body that moved. And nobody said I was going to walk again. As a matter of fact, I had several neurologists who told me that I wouldn't. But of course, we don't listen to doctors, do we? And diagnosis is not destiny. Prayer, in whatever language, whatever format, whatever moves you to speak to God, be it he, she, the creator, the universe, whatever it is that you recognize as that essential aspect of life that is working toward your benefit. Let me say it again. The world is working in concert, Dagmar, for your benefit, not against you. It's working for you. It says, Dagmar, tell me what you want to do. Be in harmony with me. That's what prayer is. Prayer says, I love you, dear Lord, dear world. How amazing. If you weren't running out of time, I would tell you a quick story, but I'm not going to do it right now, so I want to get to the others. Perseverance. I don't even need to describe this. That's sort of obvious, isn't it? And yet, there's a very famous, wonderful line that says the following: the dream will get you started, discipline keeps you going. Perseverance. About overcoming. Thank you, Dagmar. Persistence. Persistence is 10 minutes a day. Every day. You don't go to sleep at night unless you did your reading. Do you all hear me? Do you understand when I say to you, because I love you, I'm investing my time in you, you're investing your time. I only want good for you. You don't go to sleep unless you did your reading. Because that's your connection to you, that vital being that is the fountain, your greatest friend. Patience. When they tried to put me on a, what do they call those bicycles? Yeah, you're sitting on a stationary bicycle, right? I can't ride a regular bicycle because of my situation. When on a stationary bicycle, and they strapped my feet in and put me on there and help somebody had to hold me to start up so I wouldn't fall over and such. And I was able to turn the pedals once or twice, and then finally, over the course of a number of years, really start doing. Obviously, I can't go sort of fast like other people do, but that's okay. I do what I can do. It gets the heartbeat up and such. But the idea of patience, as I was pedaling along, I recognized, who am I? One of my definitions is I am a patient, right? I had doctors. I have something that people call a disability. It's not, but I'm a patient. And I recognized that I'm not just a patient, I have to become a patient, because it took years, and I'm still in process of getting better, as it were. But you're a patient in relation to yourself. I have to be a patient. I'm also a patient husband, father, brother, employer, employee, because no matter what side you're on, you're working for the customer, you're an employee, or you have people who work with you and for you, you're an employer. We're all in the same positions, right? So you're a patient in relation to many aspects of your life. Let's talk about the 3Ds, because life is a 3D experience. 3Ds are very simple: decision, discipline, determination. Important line: nothing happens until you make a decision. It's the first step on that blank piece of paper that you're going to be filling in defining success. You're making a decision of what you want, who you will be in order to achieve. The genius of being a human is that we have free will. Your decision changes everything. You make a difference. Yes, go mad. Make a difference. Decision is that one key element that makes everything else happen. The trickle begins when you make your decision. Discipline. Now, discipline is a fascinating word, because most of the time when I speak about this, and thank God I've spoken to tens and tens of thousands of people, I can literally see people bristle. Discipline, in a German sense. No. Discipline is not somebody on your back lashing you and yelling in your ear, get going, let's go, hands down, come on. Discipline, when you know who your best friend is, is gently at your side, nudging you, urging you with love, joy, happiness, and peace. And you don't want to let you down, because that's your best friend. That's real discipline. To live in harmony. determination. Again, these all fit part and parcel, hand in glove, as it were, with the 4 Ps. You are determined to be not only the best that you can, but to deliver service in every aspect of your life. Because I said it before, and I will say it again now. You cannot fail. Yeah! Wow! You can't fail. Impossible. As one of my mentors said to me more than 50 years ago, you ready for this? He said, hey, sure. Pull the trigger. Ride the bullet. You hear me? Pull the trigger. Make your decision. Ride the bullet. What's the worst that can happen? Big deal. You fall down, you get up. Pull the trigger. Ride the bullet. I think we will wrap this up for the moment. Oh, 15 more minutes? I don't know if we can do that. We'll see. But I want to impart to you, in case I haven't thus far, that for me personally, I live in what I call JHPL. You ready? Joy, happiness, peace, and love. Those are the vitamins that animate my life. You can learn about you in a most simple and fun experiment. You ready, everybody? Here we go. Watch yourself for the first 180 seconds when you wake up. Who are you and what do you do in the first 180 seconds when your eyes open and you realize you're alive? Do you do this? Yay! Or do you or hit the snooze button? Or do you wipe your eyes and how do you rise in the morning? Those first 180 seconds tell everything. Do you walk in the same path through your house every time? Do you make a cup of coffee? Do you turn on the radio? Who has a radio anymore? Do you turn on your phone and watch the news or anything like that? What do you do in those first 180 seconds tells you who you are. Those first 180 seconds are sacred. They are your most beautiful, your most loving, your most precious part of the day. Because you're becoming awake. What does that mean? You're conscious. Conscious beings, by definition, cannot fail. Unconscious beings, by definition, cannot succeed. Oh, yes, there are people who can make money and do these things, but you're living in a conscious world. You want your life to be a fountain. You want your life to be filled with joy, happiness, peace, and love for you and everyone that you interact with, whether it's your next door neighbor, it's the person sleeping next to you in the bed, or it's somebody halfway around the world that you provided a service to. It doesn't matter. You've touched another being. You are so wondrous that if you even had a glimpse of who you really are and can be, you would shudder. You'd run away. You say it's not possible until you open your eyes and realize, that's me. Wow! Wow! By the way, we all say the word wow every once in a while, don't we? Something moves you. You know what WOW stands for? I'm very big on acronyms. WOW stands for Words of Wisdom. Because that's what makes you go, wow. Yeah, that must be true. It is. Words of wisdom. Everybody on this call, all 25,683 now, knows what WWW stands for, right? What a wonderful world. Got it? We just reframed everything you do from now on, Dagmar. WWW in your mind, and what you're going to tell everybody is, what a wonderful world. It comes out of your mouth because it came out of your heart, and it came from your mind. Your thoughts, your words, your deeds make a difference. You're all mad. Go make a difference. Okay, Omar, it's 11 o'clock.
Okay, thank you, Barry. So Barry, I want to ask you some questions. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you have more time, you know.
I'll make time.
Make like
two other things I wanted to make that I need to tell people, but go ahead, please.
Okay. Well, just putting everything you mentioned, that is like the fundamental, you know, the core principles that we can apply to our daily lives to be successful. Now, bringing it to more practical terms like tactical, like bringing it to actual business, being in service, meaning being in service to your customers, being in service to employees, employers, everyone. That is what I'm getting from here. And then the persistence, perseverance, patience, prayer, also applying that to your business. That is like something I'm kind of curious. How is that? How do you apply prayer and the other P's for your business?
Thank you, Omar. Well, everybody hears the question, right? I'm going to answer with something that I wanted to say anyway, so thank you. That was perfectly good.
Okay.
If everybody on this call, all 25,493 people, have not heard the TED Talk given by Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K, called The Why, your why of your business. He also wrote the book. Please go to YouTube, put in Simon Sinek, put in why, see the long version, it's only 18 minutes or so. And that, I believe, Omar, will answer start with why. Thank you. Will answer every question about how prayer, persistence, perseverance, and patience intersects your business perfectly. Because as he says in there, and it's all true because he's using statistic number one, and he's using your brain and the pieces of your brain number two, because we buy, as he says, with our hearts, not just with our minds. And he gives great examples. It's the why of your business, not the how and the what. Now, you can't get rid of the how and the what. You have to have something that actually works. We don't sell bad products. By definition, if we're now awake, we don't do anything that's in any way negative for anybody, especially ourselves. Again, this is where there's a self part that is so integral to everything. You can't do anything that's against you. Therefore, you cannot do anything that's negative, or you don't want to. You're in process. As Simon Sinek points out, even with the most wonderful, beautiful, beneficial product or service, you're only going to get 2.5% of the people to really start adopting it, because those are the innovators. And then the next 12.5% of people that work with you, those are the early adopters. And it takes somewhere between 15 and 17% to reach what we call the tipping point, that famous book, where you will now begin to attract the next 80+% of the marketplace. But if you had 17% of a marketplace, you couldn't count the money. You couldn't count the number of organizations you could do benefits for. People will be coming to you and begging you to do seminars every day. You wouldn't have enough time. That's 17% of a market. But it all works based on start with the why, which intersects perfectly for the 4 Ps and the 3 Ds. So the tactical piece of this is, what is it that you have that you want to share that you believe will make people's lives better because of it. And how do you attract X number of percentage of people? 2.5%. Those first, as Tim Ferriss will say, everybody here know who Tim Ferriss is? Ferriss, double S as in Sam. Stupendous Sam. Sparkling Sam, yes, Ferriss. Your closest 1,000, that's your world. How do you influence those 1,000 people only through a channel of good? So that's the tactical piece of it. Yes, the other things are nice and such, but the tactical piece of what is it? What's my business? What's my service? What's my why? Because if you don't have a why, then you're fooling yourself. Well, how and the what, and get out there and recognize that by taking the right steps, working with Omar, working with Delighted, finding these kinds of service places that can channel your product or service, this is the new world. It's a digital world. Does that help?
Yes, definitely. Awesome.
Thank you.
And, we can go on this topic, and I want to respect everyone's time, especially you, Barry, because I know, you've shared a lot with us today, and it's really a great blessing to have you here. So thank you so much again for sharing all that. And I want to just really quickly segue to a special gift and a special opportunity that Barry and I have arranged just for you guys. It's a really amazing gift. You guys are going to love this. So if you haven't checked out Delighted, check it out, delighted.com. I put the link in the chat box. And what you're going to get with this arrangement is having the ability to have all right, so let me give it in a nutshell what Delighted is. All right, Barry can explain this a lot better.
Let me interrupt for a moment, Omar, okay. Just for a moment. Okay. Dagmar has a question. She wants to ask a question about Delighted.
Yeah, sure, Dagmar. Go ahead and type in the question, or you want to unmute yourself? Go ahead.
I'm unmuted, so I can talk.
Okay, go for it.
That's great, thank you. I know Delighted, so I know you sell these gift cards from other companies, and so people can buy the gift card, and they get the whole value of the gift card, and give $1.25, I think it is. How do you do that? Do you get discount from these companies? Do you negotiate with them? So, because somebody must pay the $1.25, I think.
Excellent. Everybody hear the question? So Dagmar is asking about Delighted. So let's go back to the principles without going through the whole story of how it happened. I came to this vision and such, but the principle is that using Delighted, you can give money at no cost to you. So as Dagmar pointed out, in the United States, not so much in Europe at the moment, we will be there, but not at the moment. In the United States, so if you're going to use, say, Starbucks as an example, you're going to spend $50 over the next week or two. So you go onto the Delighted app or onto the mobile access website, and you order $50 Starbucks electronic gift card. You pay $50, you get $50, and that $1.25 for that particular brand goes to the cause of your choice. And by the way, every brand is different. We have 500 brands, Dagmar, and each one is different. So some are 1%, some are 2.5%, some are 5%. We have as much as 30% that the service vendor gives. So yes, we've negotiated with these brands. They love working with Delighted because we're another channel of distribution, but we give them the halo effect. Because from their point of view, here's what happens. Starbucks is now giving $1.25 to help out get rid of cancer. That's a wonderful thing. And the person doesn't mind because they're paying full price. What's the difference? I paid $100, I got $100, and money went. So yes, we negotiate. They give us a margin. We don't like the word discount, but they give us margins, arbitrage, fancy words. They give us the margin. We give everything, almost everything away. We have processing of the credit card. We make enough just to keep the company going because thank God I don't need the money per se. And now you have literally thousands, tens of thousands, thank God now, and maybe, God willing, 1 million more coming up over the next year or so, using this service. And it's buying every day, using it for everyday shopping. So you're going to go to get coffee, and you're going to go use iTunes, and you're going to go eat out, and you're going to go to the movies, et cetera, et cetera. So it's everyday shopping. And of course, you can also give gifts. So we have a lot of people this time of year, of course, who are using it to give gifts from the site. You say, okay, send $50 of this, $100 this, $25 this, and you send electronically, and people love it. It's so easy because our mission is simple: making everyday giving effortless. And when people become givers, they feel good, right? Who doesn't feel good when you give? So we touch the two deepest emotions in a human being. I'm smart and I'm good. How much smarter can I be than to be good if it doesn't cost me anything? That's pretty cool, right? And it's especially great for what we call millennials and Gen Zs, because they live on their thing called a smartphone. Hit a button, going to buy it anyway, and they just gave money to clean up the water or not make sure pets don't get put to sleep and things like that. So yes, the margin is from the provider, and we give as much as we can, enough to cover the cost of processing, enough to keep the company going, and we spread joy, happiness, peace, and love. Does that help you? Thank you. Oh, I couldn't hear you.
That helps. Thank you.
Thank you,
right.
Dagmar.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. I just wanted to mention now the special opportunity we're giving to you guys, because this is on the topic of Delighted, and it's a special arrangement that we're giving especially to you that I've arranged from with Barry. Basically, right now on Delighted, as Dagmar and Barry has been explaining, you can purchase gift cards for big brands like Amazon, Starbucks, T-Mobile, all these other big brands. And at the moment, it's only gift cards with these big brands. But what we're doing is we're going to open it up for you to have your brand and your products and your services, whatever it is, if it's coaching, if it's consulting, if it's an actual ebook or a digital product or a physical product, you can sell those on Delighted. All right, so we're going to have an application for you to just share your information, your product name, the price, how much of the margin you want to share with the customer to give to the charity, etc. And just some more details about the product and the logos, all that. And if you want, I made it very simple for you to fill this form out, and I've taken the liberty in putting in a lot of the details for you and setting up a template for you in case you want to just cut and paste your own stuff in there. All right, so I'm really excited about this, and it's going to be next year we're planning to have, like as Barry said, over 1 million users, and in the next 5 years definitely we're going to have over 5 million users at least. Okay. And so the goal is to raise at least $1 billion for causes around the world in 5 years from now. Okay, so that's what we're doing, and it's a huge mission, and it's definitely doable, and we're really excited about this. So right now, you guys are in the ground floor. Your brand is going to be next to these huge brands, and it's just a win-win for everyone, right? It's helping the causes as well. So. And you're welcome, everyone. Yes, you're welcome.
Omar, I think there was a question about the URL for Delighted. Let me just repeat it if I may.
Go ahead, yes.
On the screen. Delighted is D as in dynamic. Thank you, Dagmar. D as in dynamic, L as in loving, Y as in yes, T as in terrific, E enthusiastic, D as in Dagmar. Delighted.com.
All right, awesome. And I'm just going to put in the chat box the link to the link for the application process. And again, this is especially just for you guys. We're not opening this up to the general public. It's just for you. So go ahead and fill that out. You'll check it out. There's a video on that page. You can see, I'll walk you through the steps of how to set up how to fill out the application. And if you have any questions at all, just reach out to us at our support center. If you don't know the email, it's support@infopreneuragency.com. And we might have a follow-up webinar with Barry if he's willing to to share more about Delighted and share more about some more really great principles of this. How many of you actually got a lot out of this, as much as I did? I want to hear from you. I'm going to unmute everyone. I want to hear some feedback. How many of you enjoyed this call?
Okay, I'm going to sign off, but I'd like to do a intergalactic hug, a Zoom hug. Everybody ready?
Oh, nice.
1, 2, 3.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Barry. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Yes, thank you.
All right, take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.